After his military service, he transitioned to the private sector, where he built a reputation as a leader in offensive security and physical breach security. He's here today to share his incredible journey from special operations to entrepreneurship and to inspire transitioning veterans with insight on building purpose-driven, high-impact careers. We're super excited to have you here today. Kind of start off by telling us about your transition out of special operations into the working force. Tell us how that was for you.
Sure, yeah. I've got like a little deck. Is that okay if I pull that
No,
up?
yeah, absolutely. Do your thing.
Oh, hold on one second here. If I can figure out how to share. I don't use Zoom often
No,
anymore.
you're all right. There
Let's
should
see.
just be a little green share button down there with a green arrow.
Yeah, let's see. One second. Sure I'm on the right page here. All right. Did that work?
Yeah, we see you.
All right. Yeah. So I guess I'll start off by how I got into the military in the first place and just go from there.
Yeah,
So I joined the military shortly before the Iraq War kicked off. Just getting out of high school, went into college. Quickly realized that I didn't have enough money to go into college or to continue paying for college. So Iraq was kicking off. I figured there's no better time to go serve the country than then. So I signed up, enlisted for my initial 4 years. It was a great time. I had so much fun. Did maybe two or three deployments during that first 4 years. So re-enlisted, stayed in total for 12 years at various duty stations. So my first role, I was at USASOC, working in the 112th Signal Battalion as a radio operator. And then I transitioned over to one of our other organizations, and then did some time there. Ultimately, spending time at USOC headquarters, working as Lieutenant General Mulholland's communicator for about 2 years, and then I transitioned from there over to the USOC parachute team, which was an absolute pleasure and honor to do. There's maybe nine of us there on the team at a time. If you don't know what the Black Daggers are or who they were, I think they've been deactivated at this point. It's kind of the Army Special Operations equivalent of the Golden Knights. Essentially, what we do is go travel around the country, do recruiting efforts on behalf of Army Special Operations, get folks into the 18X program, get them excited about joining Rangers, that kind of stuff. So we go to college events, pro sporting events, that kind of thing. So it's absolute pleasure or absolute honor to have been able to do that for 2 years. During that time, I did break my back twice, so that was least fun of that role, but also at the same time, still rewarding nonetheless. As I transitioned out of the Black Daggers parachute team, Lieutenant General Mulholland was changing commands. He was leaving USASOC headquarters, headed down to US SOCOM to be the deputy commander of US SOCOM, and asked me if I wanted to move to Tampa. And my wife said, absolutely, we're going to move to Tampa. So we did that. Ended up staying in Tampa for about 10 years. While I was down at Tampa, working for Mulholland, I made the decision that I'd kind of done everything that I've sought out to do on active duty and made the plan to transition from active service to the civilian world. At that time, there was nothing like the Skill Bridge program. We did have ACAP, but it was really not well defined. It's kind of clunky, misleading, and essentially not informative as you're getting out. So I sought upon myself to find a path forward. Being a radio operator, there's not really a whole lot of careers on the outside. At least I didn't think there was for that skill set. There certainly is in dispatch and different things as I kind of transitioned out. So if you are a radio operator or looking for a job in that career field, there's plenty of stuff out there for you. Um, I wanted to do something a little bit different, so I went to Google not knowing what I was searching for. I typed into Google security, and I stumbled onto a website called offensivesecurity.com. And what they offer is training, particularly on the cyber side for doing remote penetration testing or penetration testing. And I figured, hey, that's pretty cool. I'd love to break into things and get paid to do that. Not knowing what I was signing up for, I signed up for the course and I kind of made a pact with myself. Either I'm going to get through this course, I'm going to get the certification, and I'm going to get out and apply for roles, or I'm going to go through the course, I'm going to fail at the certification, and I'm going to stay in a little bit longer. So, with that in mind, I went ahead, took the course. I'd never seen a Linux terminal in my life. I've never done anything remotely close to IT administration. So when I got the courseware, I was dumbfounded and a bit lost. So what did I do? I looked back at that thought process that I had, and I said, "Hey, either I'm going to do this, I'm going to get out, or I am not, I'm going to fail and I'm going to stay in." So failure was not an option. So what I did is during my transition period, I had about 3 months of terminal leave, and General Mulholland was kind enough to give me a light enough schedule during the 3 months leading up to that to focus on coursework. Again, it would have been great to have had something like SkillBridge back then,
Mhm.
but that just simply didn't exist. So what did I do? I spent about 16 to 20 hours a day for 6 months studying for this exam. And if you've never heard of the OSCP exam, it's pretty rigorous. It's about 24 hours long. It's all practical related, so there's no multiple choice questions. You essentially have a mock environment. They put you in a lab, and you have to hack into a number of different systems, do a number of different tasks, and at the end of it, you have to write a report. At least at the time, you'd write your report, you'd submit your report, you'd have 24 hours to do the exam, and another 24 hours to write your report, to which a board would reside over your report to determine if you got the certification or not. So um, it took quite a while of studying, but ultimately I did take the exam. I got the certification, so I made the effort to made the decision to go ahead and ETS. So as I was coming out of military service, the first thing that I do, I think that most people do, is they immediately start looking at government contracting. You still have your clearance, kind of a no-brainer to transition from federal service into another role that's somewhat comfortable. So I did that. I went to a government contractor doing training, teaching people how to um, do some of the stuff that we did in special operations, back to some of the groups as well as some of our three-letter agencies. And then I was there for maybe 2 months, 3 months, and then my boss at the time said, "Hey, we need you to go TDY for 4 months to this location." And I was like, "Oh man, I just got out of service, just got done doing all my deployments. Me and my wife had just had our third child. There's no way I was going to go TDY again for 4 months. As much as I would have enjoyed it, probably would have ended my marriage. So I decided, no, this isn't for me. So I made a clean break and went completely outside of the government and straight to commercial penetration testing. So my first role in penetration testing was at a company called Fishnet Security. Fishnet Security ultimately ended up merging with another security company and became Optiv Security. So I started out at the very bottom there, leveraged my veteran network to kind of look for jobs, and then I had met one person, Todd Salmon, who I still consider a great friend and mentor to this day, who gave me the opportunity at Fishnet Security. Um, I started at the bottom. I started out as a tacticianer, learning penetration testing initially, and then ultimately, after about 5 years, became the practice director of the team there, and I was served as practice director at that team for about a decade before stepping away. So that's really my intro into, or my transition from military to the cyber world. There's kind of a lot in between there. But as while I was at Optus Security, the government had reached out, or friends that did some contracting for the government had reached out. They knew that I'd been doing penetration testing for a number of years in the commercial space, and they said, "Hey, some of the folks here need to learn how to use the tools that you do, or learn the TTPs that you have without using any of their government tools or anything like that." So they asked if I could build a training program and maybe some tools specific to teach back into the communities. So I agreed to that, and my co-founder and I, Ralph May, founded Mayweather Group. We did that back in 2023. So we didn't mean to start a company. We just wanted to support the military folks that are still kind of out there. Um, but what we found out what happened was as we did that, we built the training. When that contract was up, we transitioned that over to the commercial space. And over time, all that stuff kind of builds notoriety. People start attending your training. The company starts growing, and at a point, it grows to a level where you can't viably work two or three different jobs and give everyone the same effort or focus that they deserve or that they're paying for. Um, so earlier this year, my partner and I, we decided, hey, we're going to do a clean break and go completely solo. So I want to say around April of this year, we both parted ways with our employers and focused exclusively on Mayweather Group and VTEM Labs. So Mayweather Group, we do professional services, cybersecurity services, so everything from penetration testing to advanced facility breaching. We also do training. We teach people how to break into buildings without getting caught. We've got a warehouse down here in Tampa that we leverage for that. We've got about maybe 60, 70 cameras on it. We do everything like we were in the military. So instead of sitting there um, force feeding PowerPoint slides down people's throats and multiple choice questions, what we do is we put them in a fast-paced environment, about 3 days long. There's 2.5 hours of presentations, and then the rest of it is operational. So students are doing operations downtown Tampa for about 2 days, and then we give them kind of a letter of authorization, which essentially lets them break into a building, and then give them a statement of work, which defines the scope of work that they're there to perform. And we set them loose on a warehouse we have. So while they're there in training, um, kind of anything goes, right? It's surreptitious. We show them a bunch of different tactics to get in, but if they make a mistake, the Hillsborough County Sheriff's does show up. They have to pull out their letter of authorization. We're never too far away, so when that does happen, they have their get out of jail card. But out of it, kind of our goal is to take someone off the street that's never done facility penetration testing before and give them the confidence to go and do their first engagement without getting arrested, without breaking the law, or without putting egg on their face or their client's face. As when you transition from the military, everything becomes very transactional, right? In the military, it's great. There's a fixed budget. Anytime you want to go do something, you don't really pay for anything. There's no real funds exchange. You're just kind of like, hey, I want to go do this thing, and the government either says yes or no. Um, on the commercial side, not the case, right? Companies will pay you a good amount of money. I'm on an engagement here currently, working on breaking into a pharmaceutical company. Um, with that, there's a transactional value. So they're paying me a decent amount of money to do this work. If I go and embarrass myself or I cause a scene or some type of disruption to their business, there's very real consequences on the backside of that, where one, I can cost them money, which turns into legal disputes between my business and theirs. So having that tangible training, knowing what you're doing at all times, kind of plays a big role once you make that transition from the military into the commercial workspace. Um, Also with Mayweather Group, we do custom engineering. So we build some breaching tools, some pretty sophisticated badge cloning equipment. That's just another offering we have. So the reason why we do different things, services, training, and a little bit of product is we're trying to diversify our revenue stream, right? So you don't want to be uh, focused on just one aspect of anything. You want to be able to bring in revenue from different sources, right? So doing it from training, that gives us a decent amount of overhead every month for each class that we run to keep the business operational. On the product side, we do make profits on the product, but we're not trying to make profits on the product. What we do with the product is kind of builds notoriety to who we are within the industry. So that way people come to our training and as they exit our training, sometimes they'll pick up our gear and apply that to their own businesses, but more so, it gives us room to sponsor events like Black Hat, DEF CON, any of these hacker conferences. We do, couldn't tell you, probably a dozen or so conferences a year. And it gives us an opening to speak at conferences. It gives us an opening to do mentorship, that kind of thing, which all plays a huge role as you transition from the military, especially if you're going to start your own business. At VTEM Labs, completely different company. The reason why we separated Mayweather Group and VTEM Labs is we intend to sell one. We've got an exit strategy with VTEM Labs. At VTEM Labs, we build software, and that's it. It's all geared towards professional penetration testing, incident response, and IT management. But as a business owner, if I was to roll that software into Mayweather Group, and we were to grow that business and we were to sell it, we would have to sell the entire business. And then there goes all of our revenue streams
Mm.
at one time. Granted, it could be a good payout when it comes to sell, but we would like to keep that business post-sell of VTEM Labs. VTEM Labs, again, the way we started it, the way we funded it, is we've kind of taken all the funding that we've received from Mayweather Group over the years and just kind of rolled it into VTEM Labs. So to today, we haven't taken any type of VC funding, private equity, or any of that kind of stuff. We do want to keep the ownership to ourselves, primarily because once you separate that ownership or start bringing in investors, they now get say in the company, say in the direction, say in the board. And we've seen from a number of our friends who have started businesses, sometimes that works out great. Sometimes you can scale a business incredibly fast and profit. However, most times than not, what we've seen in the cyberspace, taking in that VC funds, that private equity, has turned to be somewhat detrimental. We've had friends grow their businesses into $10 million, $20 million businesses. They've sold it and they've made nothing on the back end just because they diluted their ownership so much between rounds of funding that at the end of it, they were just employees of that company. So that's kind of enough about me. I would like to open it up to some questions. I've got some top threes for transitioning out of the military that I'll show here in a minute. But more so,
Yeah,
I'd like to hear from you guys and answer any questions that you guys might have.
absolutely. We had a bunch of people in the chat say they were interested in what you were saying, so I'm really excited for some engaging questions. So if any of you that said yes in the chat or anybody else, put your hand up if you had any questions for Travis. Robert, go ahead.
Well, first off, thanks for coming and talking to us. It seems like your journey is kind of similar to mine as far as I started out in radios when I first joined the Air Force, and now I'm kind of in the defensive cyber, and I did a little bit of offensive. But I guess my question is more of for the OT side of things, do you guys deal a lot with that or ICS kind of stuff, and how do you see the business like changing in that direction?
So OT is very profitable, very high in demand right now. So if you're focused on OT, stay with it. But one thing I will say is that cyber in the military can mean one thing like, hey, cyber is cyber. It kind of encompasses everything. You have to be an expert in all this stuff. On the commercial side, that is not the case. I can tell you right now, I don't do any OT penetration testing. Now, from a physical standpoint, I will go break into SCADA environments, but I'm not going to touch it from a logical standpoint. For that, I will leverage my peers for OT testing. OT is very, very finicky, and there's very, very real consequences for knocking some of that stuff out. Say if you're going to go do a pen test in an OT environment for a large metropolitan area, you can knock city out or knock power out to a city in an instant, right? Or a good chunk of that city. So there's very, very real issues when it comes to that. So I guess that would bring me to my first point for transitioning. If you're going to look into the cyberspace, figure out what it is that you want to go after and be laser focused on that.
Mm.
I've interviewed, I couldn't tell you, probably 300 people over the last 7 years into roles. And the number one thing that'll get you rejected is being a jack of all trades and a master of none. So, especially if you're going to go into consulting, if you want to be an offset guy, focus on offset. So, I'll speak to the offset portion because that's just what I do. there's a core methodology that's kind of broadly uh, put across the entire industry. So this core methodology, they expect everyone to be able to deliver on these things on day one. Uh, Outside of that is your niche stuff. So if you're going to do the core methodology, that's external network penetration testing, so attacking an organization from the internet to their internet-based systems. There's internal penetration testing, where you're taking a device, planning it on the internal network, doing network penetration testing that way, just on the internal network. And then there's social engineering, which is spear phishing, phone pretexting, and then wireless security. So being able to do a wireless penetration test. And that's really what we consider the core methodology or the core offering set in the commercial space. Outside of that, you've got a number of specialties. So everyone's expected to do core methodology. Outside of that, you'll probably find a specialty that you're an expert in. And you won't know what this is really until you've been in the industry for a couple of years. Or you might know if it is OT, run with it. That is a very profitable business. It could be physical penetration testing. That's what I absolutely love. I started doing that when I got out, and that's all I wanted to do. Anything physical, I love breaking into buildings. I'll do it. 4 weeks out of every month, I'll travel for that. Um, there's web application security. That's a whole nother job role in itself, right? So that's pretty in depth, both in web apps, and then as you break it down, what kind of web apps? Are you doing smoke testing where you're just doing OWASP type 10 type testing? Are you doing adversarial testing? Are you doing API testing? Are you doing SDLC? Are you doing source code review? That kind of stuff. So everything kind of breaks down a little bit more. Then you get into product testing. Um, think of another one. OT would be considered kind of a niche or subject matter expert type thing. So as you transition, if you're going into OffSec, have your core methodology down, and then have something that you want to be an expert in, and go full bore towards that. Um, but yeah, hopefully that answers your
No,
question to
thank you.
this
Thank you.
aspect.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Timothy?
Hey, how's it going, Travis? Thanks for coming to talk to us. I
Yeah,
spent my career in special operations as well in the Air Force as a combat controller. So
right
communicator
on.
as well, a little bit different, but some similarities there. I'm in Tampa right now at Succent, so I'm just curious if you could expound upon the facility in Tampa and if there's any open roles and what those might be uh, as far as, breaking into things. I've done a little bit of that and some other training as well. So just curious about that.
Awesome. So you are in Tampa?
I am in Tampa, retiring, and we're planning on staying for probably at least 5 years. Let some of the kids move out of the house before we move maybe to mountains and seasons.
Right on. What are you doing December 10th through 12th?
Oh.
Nothing.
All right. So you're gonna attend the practical physical exploitation course. So I got you covered, man.
Okay,
Um, get my contact information before we drop here.
Yeah.
Shoot me a note, and I'll get you a free seat in the class.
sweet. Sounds good.
Yeah, man.
Wow, thank you so much, Travis. That is amazing. I don't know if anybody that's not speaking up in here that is in the area, definitely speak up and say something. You see what can happen just from throwing out a question. So, thank you. Chris.
Hey Travis, thanks for coming on. So I start off in radios, tactical radios, and work through networking, sysads, security, and I think I would be the definition of jack of all trades, master of none. So being that that's not the right place to be in the DCO and OCO realm, what would you recommend I do if I want to be in that blue space? What should I do to kind of prepare for to get accepted by a company? Over.
So I would recommend finding a certification. So you're going to want to go for professional certification, not like an entry level certification. So if you see all the CompTIA stuff, forego those. That's great if you're going to go straight into government jobs, but find a certification that's professional in that blue space. I don't know what to recommend from a defensive standpoint, but from a offensive standpoint, the OSCP is kind of the gold standard now. Now it's not the only standard. It'll guarantee you an interview, but at the end of the day, you'll still have to do on the defensive side as well some type of practical exam for any hiring that you do.
I think we have a hot mic from somebody. Just check your mics, make sure they're off, please. Thank you. Sorry.
From an
So,
offensive side, there's a number of certifications. One is if you go to TCM, I think it is, they've got a bunch of like $25 courses. They're a veteran-owned company, and Heath over there has built some absolutely incredible courses to get you started. They're all about $25. I would say take a handful of those. They don't take long to get through, but you'll know coming out of there. He's got them on different sides, so either offensive, defensive, what have you, code writing, that kind of stuff. You'll know right off the bat what works for you, what doesn't. For me, like if I was to look at a web app to do a web app pen test, I'll fall asleep right away. I know that is not in my world of things that I'm capable of doing, nor that I desire to do. And the only way that I knew that I wasn't capable or had the desire to do that is I got put on a project and fell asleep. I completely bombed it. So
yeah. So
doing that type of training will
so I
help
have
you
my
out.
CISSP, but is that going to be help me out if I don't have the credentials, the experience with, the actual offensive and defensive, pen testing, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so CISSP is really kind of driven, kind of like a generalist,
Yeah.
security generalist. That'll get you any type of generalist role, which there's nothing wrong with that. Um, do some privilege escalation, right? Where I was just talking to a guy the other day. Getting into the industry these days, especially into the offensive industry, is difficult. It's when I got out, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing it. Now there's like everybody wants to do offensive security. So landing a role in a defensive standpoint or in a generalist standpoint, get that role, and then while you're in that role, volunteer to do some pen testing, volunteer to do other things, and that will exponentially build your trajectory. So CSSP is great if your ultimate goal is to get into like a CISO job or any type of generalist role. It'll definitely get you quick. I would run with that for sure.
Okay. And not to take all your time, do you have any recommendations for areas of growth if that somebody should focus on, or areas you shouldn't focus on because of saturation?
Uh, no, the reason why is passion, right? So why chase a job that you're not going to be happy with? So if I was to say, do I feel that the OffSec space is a little saturated? Yes, at the moment, but also at the same time, it's saturated with people that are not qualified for it. So and what I mean by that is we've got a lot of kids coming out of high school. They buy into a cyber degree, right? Program it, fill in the blank, college. The problem with that is that they have no understanding of IT administration. They drop into these things and they're just essentially cert prep courses, and they don't learn any of the fundamentals. So as a CISSP, you've been in it for 5 years, right? So you've already got that. You've already got some level of IT administration background. You know how the Windows network is managed. You know how network access controls kind of work fundamentally. So you're better situated to fall into an OffSec role if you're to go into OffSec. So I wouldn't say don't chase something. Or something that's saturated, particularly in cyber, especially given the experience that you guys have. You guys are already in a professional space where you're already doing a lot of stuff. So I would say run with what you want to do, and then just laser focus on that. Don't get sidetracked.
Absolutely. Brad.
Hey, Travis. First off, thanks for coming. A little bit
Yeah.
about me. I'm IT in the Navy, but I've also been trained as a technical surveillance operator. I went through the TSC course with the U.S. Army,
Okay.
and I made those Green Berets look bad because I was the honor grad. And I've actually worked hand in hand with 112. I was down in Sox South, so I helped them down there too. Where did you get your training for the Serendipitous entry?
Yeah. So a number of different places while on active duty, but mostly I've built most of the training, and most of it comes from the hundreds of companies that I've broken into. So I've been hired to break into power plants, bank vaults. I've been hired to breach news organizations, where they're broadcasting live news to get in the newsroom and be in a position to cause physical harm to the on-air talent. You name it, I've been hired to do it. So most of the training that I've built or that I've received is just repetitions of breaking into a bunch of different things, coming across every security control, and then on top of that, researching stuff. So like badge cloning, I've reverse engineered. I couldn't tell you how many badge readers, technologies to weaponize my own readers, but a lot of it comes down to just repetition.
Yeah, I've actually broken into a few places in Tampa myself. Do you know Jim Connors?
I know Jim Connors.
All
I
right,
know
I've been
Jim
through
Connors.
a few of his courses. So,
So when I talked about doing contracting, the first contracting I did was with Jim Connors at it was a TSM
yep.
corporation back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was with them, I was at NSW SRT2.
Okay.
So,
So you might have. When did you go through training there?
I was at NSW from 2014 to 18. So I
Okay.
went through training probably around 2015. And
Oh
then
wow.
we did a lot of contracts with them where we did exercises. After that, I went down to SOC South and I was still the liaison for technical surveillance down there. They didn't have anybody military really doing that.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I was with Jim middle of 2014 to 2015.
Yeah, we probably crossed paths.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now I'm on the other side. I'm on Jacksonville's side. So,
Oh, right
but
on. So
yeah.
not too far from me. I actually live outside of Gainesville now.
Okay. Go Gators.
Yeah.
Well, every call we realize how small of a community the military and veteran community is. It is so insane. That is, it is crazy. So I know you already said it to Timothy, but what is the best way if anybody else in the call that didn't say anything, they want to take part in one of these trainings or they want to be a part of the Mayweather Group in any way? What would be the best way for them to go about that?
Yeah. So here's my email address. Shoot me an email or add me on LinkedIn. I think someone already shared it. Yeah.
Yep.
Add me on LinkedIn. Just let me know that you're here in the training. I love giving back to the veteran community. There's not a single course that we do that's a public offering that we don't give free seats away to veterans. So,
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. Oh, we got another question. Hey, Joel.
Hey, good morning, Travis.
hey, Joel.
So I'm listening to breaking in and stuff like that. Do you have any tips on how we can protect ourselves and keep our systems safe?
Oh, layered security, right? So it's always going to fail somewhere. 9 times out of 10, it fails at the people level. So one, security awareness. I know those videos that the government makes you watch. Uh, Kind of boring, kind of terrible. But if you could find a way to make that engaging, that's probably the biggest bet. You're going to do those on the outside too. They're way worse on the outside. The government actually put some money into them, but you'll see they're absolutely terrible on the outside. But layered security, right? It goes with anything. So when you're talking about a facility, a home, what do you have? You've got your door locks, you got an alarm, you've got a dog, you've got a gun. You have to layer those things and know when to apply what under which situation. Same thing with on the cyber side. It's more so about triage. Being really good at triage is going to get you further, right? So you've got your antivirus, you got your EDR, you've got all these wonderful multi-factor authentication things. Someone at some point is going to land in your corporate environment maliciously, and it's not so much about keeping them out, but it's about how fast you can detect it, how fast you can get them out, and how fast you can determine what was compromised during that process. So it's going to happen. It's what you do that afterwards that kind of really matters.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. If somebody in here doesn't have any of those layered solutions, what do you think the first recommendation for them would be from you to start that process of getting protected?
Awareness. So a threat profile, we talk all the time. So anytime we do an engagement, either a remote breach engagement or physical engagement, we look at the threat profile, right? So we don't want to go and mimic or emulate something that's not realistic to an environment. Understand what your threat profile is. If you're a school, what is your threat profile? Active shooter, someone kidnapping. So understanding that threat profile, it will give you guidance on where you go to preventing whatever it is you're concerned with. Similarly, on the remote side, what are you concerned about? If someone gets access to your credit cards, they can damage you, or if someone gets your home title, they can damage you. What controls do you have in place to prevent those types of things? How do you keep your data segmented?
Okay, thank you. Absolutely. Robert?
Hi, sorry to ask again, but
No worries.
so I kind of have two questions. First one is what kind of skills are you guys like really focusing on now for what you need? Like what areas do you guys see you need people in or like skill sets? And then the follow-on question is do you guys ever see any options for like remote assistance during your pen tests?
Yeah, so typically for remote assistance is usually we have people that deliver it. So each engagement is done kind of solo, unless it's like a larger like breach engagement, then there might be two people on it. So anyone that's doing work, they're doing the whole project. So the way we do that with a remote and physical breach is we'll do about 2 weeks remote to try to breach the company logically. Then we'll come on site and do a physical breach, and then we'll go back to remote for that last little bit of post exploitation. So what that might look like, or I'll give you an example of something we've done. I broke into a large power company, and the way we did that is we sent a 0 day embedded in a Word document. Someone opened that 0 day, which enabled us to pivot into their network. We found their badge system. We uploaded photos of ourselves, gave ourselves credentials to just about everything they had, flew on site, had badges that looked just like theirs, badged in, planted a device, left the facility, went back home, and we proceeded to continue our network penetration testing. So usually we don't need a whole lot of support on the back end. Usually when you hire into a role, you're doing it all. So you've got to go from start to finish versus um, subbing certain aspects of it out to different folks. Um, but with that said, we are going to open up a skill bridge program, hopefully early next year. We're still getting our wheels under us now. So we would love to have some folks come in and at least learn, see if this is something they want to do as a career. Moving on. I'd say other areas of things that we do that aren't glamorous, we write security policies. People need it. Usually, if you're hired as the expert to go break into a building, folks will reach back out to you because you're the expert and they want you to write their security policy versus hiring someone else to write a security policy that doesn't know what it is that you know.
That's so awesome that you guys are coming up with the SkillBridge program. We love it. We obviously all love SkillBridge here, so that's so cool.
Yeah.
Chris, what's up?
Hey, Travis, got another question for you. Just thought of so with the advent of large language models and AI kind of permeating the industry, are you concerned at all that, I mean, minus the physical penetration testing, but are you concerned about AI really removing the human out of your job because it can automate a lot of the stuff for you, or is it just gonna make it easier?
Maybe one day, 20 years down the road, but right now, no. Can you do an automated pen test? Yes. Is there some value in it? A little. Is it going to give you the same insight as a human pen tester? Absolutely friggin' not. There's no way. So it depends on what you're trying to do. If you're just trying to get a security assessment for compliance needs, by all means, run an automated pen test. If you're an organization or if a company wants to know what a nation state threat would look like, again, it goes kind of back to that threat profile. If someone wanted to get in, what is it that they could do? A human will always be there. Why do I say that? Because a automated tool, even an AI tool, can't go do a pen test, determine what that company does, what their crown jewels are, or influence actions. Whereas if I get hired to do a remote breach simulation for a financial company, I know that I can get into the environment just as AI can. I know that I can elevate my privileges to domain admin just like AI can. But what I can do that they can't do is I can go to Sally in finance's inbox, interpret what's going on at a deep level, find credentials to a bank account, and then siphon money out.
Mhm.
I can't ill an AI instance can't go that deep to illustrate that type of business impact. So currently, maybe one day down the road, it might be able to do that. But as it is right now, if you're paying for professional services, professional penetration testers, you're going to get much more than what you would get out of an automated pen test. Not only that, it's not going to be low and slow. So if you look at things like Horizon 3, great tool. Know the guys over there that put it together. However, it is noisy. You put that in a client environment, and sometimes they're like, "Hey, turn it off. It's knocking shit over." So it is very noisy. It's very loud. Whereas if I were to go, or one of my peers were to go and breach an organization, it's very low and slow. We're going to come from various different cloud providers. Everything's going to be very targeted, and it's going to take us a little bit time to get in there. But chances are we're probably not going to be seen at all.
That is so crazy. You mentioned earlier that you kind of had a top three recommendations or tips for veterans getting
Yeah.
out, and I think that that would be a really good thing to kind of end our session off with.
Yeah, I jotted these down real quick right before we started. Hold on, let me back to bumbling to share here.
Figure out how to share the screen again.
Yeah. All right.
There you go.
This is just my top three. Everyone's got their own top three. This is just based on my personal experience. And some of these we've already hit on. So top three, don't chase certifications or degrees. Focus on tangible skills. I can't tell you how many guys I've interviewed getting out of the military that I just couldn't hire. They had a list of 20, 30 SANS certifications, but they knew absolutely nothing about anything. They crammed for a bunch of tests. They got a bunch of alphabet soup after their name, but they had no tangible skills. I could not viably pull them into a $150,000 a year job and have them start churning revenue for the business. I just couldn't do it. So focus on skills that will get you the job. So it doesn't matter how many certifications you have. If you're going to go for an offensive security job in the consulting space elsewhere, part of your interview process is going to be a practical exam. That's probably going to be the very first part of it at this phase. So usually we don't talk to people until they've completed the practical, submitted the report, and we know that we're ready to move on to the interview, just because there's so many people coming in. So know that you have to have those tangible skills. You just can't talk about the tangible skills or leverage an alphabet soup after your name to get you there. Similarly, I've interviewed PhDs, a lot of them. They could talk a lot about theory, but you put them on a practical exam, they did not know what to do. They could talk all day about the theory behind what it is that they should be doing, but when it came time to put fingers to keyboards, they couldn't operate. So focus on those tangible skills. That goes regardless across anything in the cyber field. That's going to take you much further. Even as a business owner, I never thought coming out of the military, hey, I'm going to just get in a leadership role and coast. When you go back to owning your own business, guess what? You're back to being the consultant. You're back to doing the delivery. So maintain those tangible skills. Take training, lots of training. Don't take training that has certificates tied to it unless it's one that you need to get you a job. Take training that's going to give you the tangible skills, and there's a lot of them out there. Um, if your plan is to eventually start a business, don't wait. Start now. It is very easy and very cheap to open up an LLC. Reason why I say that, before you sign your first contract with whatever employer you have, if you already own your own business, you already have your own intellectual property, that belongs to you. When you sign on to a contract at any large firm, they're going to say, hey, anything you do from this day forward is our intellectual property. Should you leave, that intellectual property stays with us. In some aspect, they're right to do that. They're paying you whatever they're paying you. That should be their property if you're doing it on a work computer during work hours. However, if you do have your own business, your own intellectual property, you're building your own tools, have that completely separate. Let that be known up front. 9 times out of 10, they will completely understand. Um, Not only that, it's going to build you notoriety down the road. It takes about a year of building your business before you start seeing those returns. You'll be doing all kinds of free stuff, all kinds of stuff just to get your name out there, but people won't catch on until they've seen your logo come across enough time to start reaching out for work. 3, no one's coming to save you. This is it. You're stepping out of the military. Unless you're retiring at 20 years or you have 100% disability, this is it. Like it is on you, and you are the sole person responsible for your family and your success. If your spouse isn't working or what have you, it sounds harsh, but knowing that up front, it keeps you disciplined. It keeps you focused. I can't tell you how many guys got out. They said, "Hey, I'm just gonna take 6 months just to relax." It's been a long career. And you know what? 6 months turned into 6 years, and things went downhill. So getting back up to speed, staying disciplined is absolutely important. So
Mm.
harsh, but one of my top threes. Bonus, I think we already hit on this. If you're moving into a professional consulting role, be a professional on day one. So find those certifications, do what you can now to learn those tangible skills, even if it's not a cert, even if you can get into hack the box and do whatever you're going to do. Have those skills ready. The reason why it's hard for a consulting company or any company to hire you uh, under the assumption of on-the-job training. Hey, I'm a smart guy. I pick up things quick. Smart gal. I can learn this right away. That really doesn't translate to the commercial world. Commercial world, we're billing projects at $250, $300 an hour. Um, all your peers are running projects that are billing at $250, $300 an hour. You need to be able to jump in there and start delivering on those things. Is your cost of being employed is about anywhere from $140 to $165 an hour. That's taking in your salary, your benefits, all that stuff. So you have to be turning revenue right away. Otherwise, you're going to be the first to get laid off. Not only that, the on-the-job training thing, specifically in the offensive security space, is very difficult because your peers are working projects at the same time. So if they're having to come over to train you, teach you, they're taking away from their own project time or they're adding to their project time and they're not getting compensated for that. So hard reality on the outside, it's very much a pay for play thing. Everyone is very token operated or coin operated, and if you're having somebody else bill your projects, guess what? You're probably gonna have to share those hours with them, which comes back to your bonus, comes back to your utilization, which comes back to your job stability. So be a professional day one, or at least as soon as possible into that new role. And finally, the most important thing that you can do, stay connected, network, blog, research. You never know when you're going to cross paths with somebody again. Uh, all you guys are getting out of the military now. You guys are all going to transition into degree or cyber careers at some point, at least some of you. Um, Keep those relationships up. As your juniors at a place 5 years from now, you guys can all be VPs running the show, and that'll pay off dividends. If you keep those relationships up, guess what? Some of the guys that I grew up pen testing with, they're now CISOs at Fortune 100 companies. Guess who they come to get their pen test? To me, because we work together and they trust me. Similarly, guys that I served with, we're on the VTEM Lab side. We're getting into uh, the federal side of the business. One of my best friends, he went federal, stayed federal, and now he's kind of our stepping stone into government contracts on the VTEM side. So you never know when you're going to need somebody again. Leverage your network, stay connected.
Perfect. I love that advice. I think probably the number one thing we talk about here is staying connected, doing that networking, reaching out to all these people that come speak to them and all the people they're in class with, just because you never know where anyone else is going to end up in a year. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah. It looks like we have one more question, which we can end off on. Hey, Chris.
I'm so sorry. It took me a second. Hey, how's it
No
going,
problem.
Travis?
Good.
Sorry I'm not on video. My daughter and I are both really sick today, and I look a mess. So um, I'm trying to spare everybody. I'm also a radio guy. Sounds like we got a couple of radio guys in here. I was at Combat Com group at Warner Robins. That's where I'm retiring out of. I'm currently in Florida. My wife's active duty Army. My question is, um, she's commo in the Army, and
Mhm.
she is putting her warrant packet in to go. She wants offensive cyber, ideally. She wants to be a
Mhm.
hacker. She wants to do all that stuff. She's got about 7.5 years of service. Do you offer some of, or 7.5 years of service left? I'm sorry. She, do you offer some of those seats and things for your courses to people that are still active duty? Because I think that you'd be a good mentor for her for the goals that she has. And I would love the opportunity to connect y'all if possible. I just didn't know if it's only for people that are veteran status, or do you offer those things for active duty as well?
Yeah, yeah, we absolutely do. If you reach out to me, my email address is there. Send me a note. If her command will let her off for training, she can come join the December class. We have another female that's going to be there, so it'll probably be beneficial. I can tell you right now, one of my very first mentees, Savannah Lazara, um, the shit she can get away with on physical pen testing is absolutely insane. She's done it all. She's gotten fake pregnancy bellies, wigs. Yeah, it's pretty wild. But yeah, the getting women into the offensive space is incredibly hard. There's just not a whole lot of interest there. But if she's available and her command will let her off for the training, absolutely send her to Tampa in December. Um,
I
as long as
appreciate
you
that.
can.
And December, I think, works good as well because I think her warrant packet's not due till early next year. And so,
Okay.
um, kind of, adding on to that discussion, she's part of the 7 Special Forces group down here in
Mhm.
Florida. And so they have a lot of, people in kind of similar positions. If she finds a couple other people are interested too, and their command lets them go, she can bring them along as well if there's interest. Or
No,
is there a limit?
yeah, we're probably at a cap right now. So
Okay.
I would say let's bring her down. We
Okay.
only limit the class to 9 people, just because we have a lot of role players and a lot of things going on. So we might be able to bring them down into subsequent iterations, but I think we're at a full class with the two that are jumping in here.
I appreciate that. Figured I'd ask
Yep.
those questions so she had all the information. I'll connect y'all, and I appreciate that very much. She's very, very, it's her number one dream job, so she's very
Yeah.
passionate about it. I'm like, this not kind of something that I'm looking to do, but I'm like, if this is what you want to do, I just wanted to try to leverage this relationship if possible for her. So I appreciate that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Sorry, I don't want to leave out any questions. So there's somebody did ask a quick question in the chat. He said, for those of us shifting into IT, would it make sense to showcase some of our projects on LinkedIn, like network simulation projects?
Absolutely. I would say number one, get a blog going. I can't tell you how many times I've referenced people's blogs, GitHubs, what have you, for interviews. The more of that stuff you have, that stands out more than any type of certification degree than anything. Community engagement is huge, especially companies. If they know they can send you to Black Hat to talk or any conference to talk because you have an outgoing personality or you have something to share, they're going to hire you way quicker because that turns into revenue.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, that ends our time here. Everyone, throw a little emote in the chat if you loved what Travis had to say here. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot about the field that I didn't know before. So thank you so much for coming in and offering your expertise and your want to help veterans. We really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, outstanding. Thanks everyone for jumping on. Don't be strangers. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Send me an email. For the two that have seats, definitely shoot me a note today. I might not respond to it until later this evening, just because I'm on a project right now. But I will get you welcome package.